Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt that something was wrong, even though everyone was smiling? Have you ever sensed that someone was hiding their true feelings before they said a single word? If this happens to you often, you might think you're simply overthinking. But what if you're not? What if your brain is naturally wired to notice emotions, energy, and tiny details that most people completely miss? Some people don't just experience life, they experience it more deeply. They remember words for years, feel other people's pain as if it were their own, and become emotionally exhausted far more quickly than others. In today's video, we'll uncover the fascinating psychology behind these people. By the end, you may finally understand why you've always felt different, and why that difference could actually be your greatest strength. What is a highly sensitive person? Psychologists use the term highly sensitive person, or HSP, to describe people whose brains process information more deeply than average. This doesn't mean they're weak or overly emotional. It simply means their nervous system pays closer attention to everything happening around them. They notice small changes in facial expressions, the tone of someone's voice, and even the emotional atmosphere in a room. While most people overlook these details, highly sensitive people naturally pick them up. This ability can make them incredibly creative, empathetic, and thoughtful. But it also comes with challenges. Because their brain is constantly processing more information, they become mentally and emotionally tired much faster. Understanding this is the first step toward realizing that sensitivity is not a flaw. It's simply a different way of experiencing the world. Have you ever met someone who smiled at you, but deep down you knew something wasn't right? Highly sensitive people have what feels like a silent emotional radar. Instead of listening only to words, they unconsciously observe body language, eye contact, facial expressions, and the tone of a person's voice. When someone says, "I'm fine," they often notice that the smile looks forced or the voice sounds unusually quiet. Their brain quickly recognizes these tiny emotional signals and senses that something is being hidden. This isn't magic or mind reading. It's simply the result of paying close attention to details that most people ignore. While this ability helps them understand others on a deeper level, it also has a downside. They notice fake smiles, hidden sadness, and emotional distance everywhere, making it much harder for them to ignore what others never even see. Have you ever felt emotionally exhausted after listening to someone else's problems, even though nothing bad happened to you? Highly sensitive people often absorb the emotions of those around them, like a sponge absorbs water. When someone is anxious, they begin to feel anxious. When someone is heartbroken, they can almost feel that pain inside themselves. Their empathy is so strong that they don't just understand emotions, they experience them. This is why people naturally trust them and feel comfortable sharing their deepest secrets. But there's a hidden cost. Carrying everyone else's emotions can become incredibly exhausting. Over time, they may feel emotionally drained without even knowing why. The healthiest sensitive people learn one important lesson. You can care deeply about others without carrying every burden they carry. Imagine walking into a crowded shopping mall. Loud music, bright lights, people talking, phones ringing, and constant movements around you. For most people, it's just another busy place. But for a highly sensitive person, it can feel completely overwhelming. Their brain processes more sights, sounds, and emotions than most people realize. Instead of filtering out unnecessary information, it pays attention to almost everything. That's why noisy places, crowded events, or even violent movies can leave them feeling mentally exhausted. This doesn't mean they're weak. It simply means their nervous system works differently. They often feel most peaceful in quiet places like nature, libraries, or a calm room where their mind can finally slow down and recover. Many people believe that someone who enjoys being alone must be lonely or antisocial. But for highly sensitive people, being alone is not about avoiding others. It's about recharging their mind. Throughout the day, they constantly read emotions, analyze conversations, and notice details that others completely miss. All of that deep processing uses a tremendous amount of mental energy. That's why, after social gatherings or a busy day, they often need silence. A quiet walk, reading a book, listening to soft music, or simply sitting alone helps restore their emotional balance. Solitude is not a weakness. It's how their brain recovers. Once they have enough time to recharge, they return with more creativity, compassion, and emotional strength than before. Have you ever noticed that some people perform worse when they're rushed, even though they're highly intelligent? Highly sensitive people don't like being under constant time pressure because their brains naturally process information in greater depth. Instead of making quick decisions, they carefully analyze every detail before taking action. This is why multitasking, strict deadlines, or fast-paced environments can feel overwhelming. It's not because they lack ability. It's because their minds are built for quality, not speed. Give them enough time, and they often produce thoughtful ideas, creative solutions, and outstanding work. Their greatest strength isn't how fast they think. It's how deeply they think. Highly sensitive people rarely forget emotionally painful experiences. A harsh comment, a broken promise, or an embarrassing moment can stay in their minds for months or even years. While others move on quickly, they often replay those memories again and again, wondering what they could have done differently. Their emotional memory is incredibly strong, making it difficult to let go of past pain. But constantly living in yesterday can steal today's happiness. The past should teach us lessons, not become a prison. The moment highly sensitive people learn to forgive themselves and release old emotional wounds, they begin to experience a sense of freedom they've been searching for all along. Have you ever become completely silent during an argument, even though you had so much you wanted to say? For many highly sensitive people, conflict feels emotionally overwhelming. Instead of fighting back, their brain may enter a freeze response. They suddenly struggle to think clearly, find the right words, or defend themselves. Later, when everything is over, they remember all the things they wish they had said. Because they dislike hurting others, they often apologize just to end the conflict, even when they weren't completely at fault. Learning that disagreement doesn't always mean rejection is an important step toward building confidence. Healthy communication isn't about winning arguments. It's about expressing your thoughts calmly while respecting both yourself and the other person. Have you ever agreed to help someone, even when you were already exhausted? Highly sensitive people often struggle to say no because they deeply care about how others feel. The thought of disappointing someone can make them feel guilty, so they keep saying yes, even when it costs them their own peace. Over time, this habit leads to stress, emotional exhaustion, and even resentment. The truth is, saying no doesn't make you selfish. It simply means you're respecting your own limits. Healthy boundaries protect your energy. When you learn to say no with kindness and confidence, you don't lose people's respect. You gain self-respect. And that is one of the most powerful lessons a highly sensitive person can ever learn. Although sensitivity brings challenges, it also gives people extraordinary gifts. Highly sensitive individuals often experience music, art, nature, and beautiful moments much more deeply than others. A simple sunset, a meaningful song, or a kind gesture can fill them with emotions that are difficult to describe. Psychologists often compare them to orchids. Like an orchid, they need the right environment to truly bloom. In a toxic environment, they may struggle. But in a supportive one, they often become incredibly creative, compassionate, and successful. Their sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's the very reason they see beauty where others see ordinary life. If you recognize yourself in today's video, remember this. There is nothing wrong with you. You don't need to become less sensitive to fit into the world. Instead, learn to protect your energy, set healthy boundaries, and spend time in environments that help you grow. Your ability to feel deeply is not a burden to hide. It's a gift to understand and manage wisely. The world needs people who notice what others ignore, who care when others don't, and who bring kindness into places filled with noise. So never apologize for feeling deeply. One day, you'll realize that the very thing you once saw as your greatest weakness has always been your greatest strength. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. See you in the next video.